So another player we are being linked with this January transfer window is the Lorient striker, Terem Moffi, and someone you guys have been a big fan of, especially the past year or so, especially from last summer. It was someone you guys wanted to maybe potentially sign. And now it looks like that rumour's come back around in January after he's been absolutely banging in goals in the French league this season. Let's take a little look at him as a player, because most people will be thinking, who is this player? Let's start by saying he's a striker and he scores a lot of goals and he's very clinical, which is exactly what we need. So either of you guys, over to you, and we'll put it up on the screen.
Has the biggest love for Moffi, but so go ahead.
I'll let you take this one then. Here we go.
So yeah, I mean, Moffi is basically what every West Ham fan's been crying out for multiple seasons now. He is the Antonio regen, but with more pace. He's taller, he's better on the ball, and he's younger. It's frightening just how clinical he is, but also how much he bullies defenses. He is 6'2". He's just 23 years old. He's got about 18 months left on his contract, but the way he plays football is just suited toward us. To be honest, Lorient play quite a lot of football that is based upon the counter-attack. It's based with pace, but Terem Moffi is one of those players who can help us really push forward with what his skill set is. He can also create chances for others. And I was just saying to Mike before, he got criticised quite a lot last season. People said it was slow, and he was due to step up more, but he still scored 8 goals. He still got 4 assists. And when we're looking for someone, maybe not first name on the team sheet, but someone who can come in and out of the squad, can rotate in, Moffi's your ideal man.
Interesting there that you kind of compare him to Antonio in our squad, who has just been not at the best this season, to put it lightly. What are the key differences between Moffi and Antonio, would you guys say, that is kind of leaning you towards wanting to sign this guy and potentially replacing Antonio in that squad?
Shall I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then Mike can give the Mike version.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the main difference is he's technically he's a good footballer, and I don't mean, well, it is a disrespect because you can't really take it any other way, but he carries the ball really well. He's got a good first touch, but his finishing is fantastic.
Is that the key difference for you then, the finishing part?
Pretty much. I'd also say it's the fact that when he gets on the ball, you don't expect it to either end up in rosette, or you don't expect it to balloon off and just potentially head back towards your own goal. It's one of those things where when he gets the ball, or when the ball is played into his feet, it's safe. It's the finishing in front of goal is the icing on the cake, because to be honest, it's fantastic. And I'll let Mike.
Let me come over to you, Mike. Let me just talk about Moffi in terms of when it comes to in front of goal. When he's getting these chances, when he's taking these goals this season, especially, are they kind of chances that you create for yourself, or are they ones where that kind of fox in the box where the ball comes into you and he's just got that instinct to finish? What kind of player is he?
So some of those goals have been a bit of fox in the box. One of the goals was literally a player's had a shot, it's been blocked, and he's just reacted quicker than the defender, and he's got there. Another one was I think they had a throw, or it was a set piece. They were really high, and he's taken the ball. He's used his body to turn the defender, and then the last defender is on the halfway line, and he's just done a very quick movement, feint, tapped it past him, and then he was gone. Gets into the area, takes around the keeper, and taps it in. So he isn't a creator. He's not really going to pick up the ball, dribble 20, 30 yards, and then smash it in the top corner. He's not that type of player. He's very much that traditional forward that works in the parameters of the 18-yard area. He wants to score goals, but he also has pace. So he can operate as that link pin or that linchpin up top and link play. But also he's very adept at being that guy who is just going to sprint in behind. As Sloth said, Lorient are very much a transitional team. They play very much in transition. And he's incredibly suited to that. So in games when we're playing, say, in top teams, he's a fantastic outlet. If you ever get a chance, go back and watch the goal we scored against PSG a couple of seasons back when I think they won 3-2, first season they came up. One of those goals, again, in transition, he just picks the ball up, goes, and once he's played through, you just can't catch him because he's so quick. And when he gets in the area, again, he has the presence of mind to slow everything he does down. So he will control how he is then approaching the ball in terms of his pace. He will shoot either right foot or left foot, but he will make the decision quite soon as to which foot he's going to go with, and he'll make sure then he concentrates on clean, precise finishing. And he's a left footer, but when he hits it with his right foot, he just puts everything into it. But again, the accuracy is fantastic. I think we put out a thread on him, and one of the statistical pieces was that he's in, I believe, like the 97th percentile for conversion and also he's striking as well. He's around 50% as shots on goal and on target. So incredibly efficient, incredibly economical. If anyone's watched Lorient, then understand that they don't necessarily always have a lot of the ball. So he doesn't have many touches in the area, but when he does have those touches and he has the opportunity to shoot, they're very high quality shots. They don't tend to be ones that are going to kind of, as Sloth said, balloon over.
Yeah.
And not exactly as if he's going to take a shot and the ball's going to trickle harmlessly wide to his foot and he's left spinning and doing a lovely pirouette like a ballerina.
One thing that has really, really impressed me, particularly last season, but this season as well, you've seen it a lot with the likes of Ouattara around him and Enzo Lefebvre. What he does is it doesn't necessarily get him an assist, but he uses the fact that he is 6'2", he's incredibly strong. He just pulls defenders over and he creates space for those players around him because he is a magnet. A bit like we've said about Skamaka, he draws players in, but he creates that space. He uses that physical element to give other players around him chances. And when you combine that with the pace he's got, Ouattara scored a fantastic goal. I think it was against Strasbourg. I could be wrong, but he picks up the ball on the halfway line and he plays it out to Ouattara, who then just runs with the ball. He plays a little 1-2 again, but he uses the fact that he knows people are going to expect him to turn and strike the ball to then play Ouattara in again. And that's the kind of thing that with Bowen, he's very much just got that mentality to get forward, get towards the box. And I think someone like Moffi can really help push his season on.
He's got really good movement as well. Two goals in particular. If you look at the one against PSG this season, there's a nice bit of intricate play, and then it's just a very quick one-touch layoff from, I believe it was Lefebvre actually, into his feet. He's gone past the defender, no one's there, and then he absolutely levers it past the goalkeeper. And then there was another one against, I believe it was against Lens, where again Lefebvre picks up the ball, fantastic bit of movement from him, plays it out into, I think it's Otera, who then crosses it, but his movement to get across the defender, to outmuscle the defender and at the near post then tap the ball in was great. His movement is really quite good. He's intelligent off the ball. As we say, he's not necessarily that involved in the linking of play, because if you look at his average passes per game, it's incredibly low. Having said that, it's also a bit akin to what Antonio was for us the season before, where he wasn't always involved in link play because he was, just in a derogatory way, kind of kick and chase football where the ball's put over the top and then you just go and chase it down to try and create havoc, to create pressure. And obviously, again, just to get onto those balls, you're more about stretching the team as opposed to being involved in that kind of play.
Yeah.
And it's something that he's really thrived in this season as well, with the way they play and the way they move around. And again, when he gets in and around that 18-yard box, I think most goalkeepers are concerned because of he is so proficient and so economical with and when he shoots on goal.
So in terms of, we've just discussed what he's like as a player. In terms of playing for West Ham and the system and the style that we play, do you think he would fit in? Because we're still interchanging a lot throughout this season. We still don't really know our best system or our best 11. And I don't think Moyes knows his best system or best 11 at the moment. So is he someone that works better as a lone striker? Is he someone that would work better with someone like Skamaka as a partner? Or what do you guys think?
Well, first off, he needs support. He's not a striker who can fashion things on his own. So he's not like an Arnautovic, and he isn't like how Antonio was 2 seasons back.
Yeah.
He does need support. He does need others creating chances for him, but he does have the movement to support that. So whilst that is a weakness in his game in that he's not going to be necessarily creating on his own, you give him a chance. A bit like the old, feed Lukaku and he will score. It's kind of like that. If you give him the opportunities, he will bury them. He will work hard defensively. So again, you look at it statistically, and you can kind of look at, he doesn't have many defensive duels. That's really terrible. But again, it's economical with that. And when he presses and how he presses, and when he does, he's actually quite, again, proficient because he is so physically strong and imposing. He does cause defenders to turn back, pass the ball back to the goalkeeper and go that way. Or when he does engage in those kind of physical duels, again, he is so strong that he really can actually, cause turnovers and so on. So I think he does suit Moyes' defensive attitude to football. Yeah. Again, he has the pace, which is something we've lacked, and does also kind of suit Moyes' reliance on how we used to play with playing in transition. So he does have many facets of his game that suits West Ham.
Yeah.
Physically, you would argue he's built for the Premier League. Again, technically, he is a little bit rough on some of his technical stuff, but when it comes to shooting, he is incredibly clinical, and you need to be clinical in the Premier League. So you can look at those maybe low percent or low amount of chances he gets or touches he gets, but then you look on the other side as to, well, how clinical is he when he gets those chances, to know that, or at least get a good idea that within the Premier League, he is most likely going to score you goals because of how proficient he is and how clinical he is.
Okay.
I think the best way to put it is he's not going to flick it over someone's head and create a chance himself, but he will very much force a defender to make a mistake, or he will run them absolutely ragged, and he might knock it past someone and just blitz them in a one-on-one race. But it's that element of not so much having the creativity himself, but relying on his physicality, the pace he possesses, that is something that Antonio did a lot for us. And I think Moffi can step up that area for us as well.
Okay, well, we've discussed the player himself. We've discussed how he would fit in at West Ham. That leads us to the last point. How likely is it he comes this January? Because there's been links with him now with Southampton for around £25 million. Is he worth that value? Because in the summer, it was around 15 million that we were kind of rumored to be linked with him with as well. So is it too much to do in January, or would you think we can get a deal a little bit cheaper than that for this January?
Yeah, to be fair, I think it was euros what he's linked to. So it's around
euros.
£20 million. Arguably, yes, he's worth it because Lorient are about 3-4 points off of 4th place. He's scored 10 goals in 16 appearances. So all intents and purposes, when you start to look at things like that, then you go, well, 100% he's worth that, especially, and then it's a good league as well. Would we pay it? I don't think we will. I do think there is a fee that can be negotiated. I think that's what they're trying to get to, 25 million, because financial situation in the French league isn't great. So again, it's looking to help that. I do think we can get him, but we've got to show our cards. I think we've got to move earlier than what we are. We seem to be procrastinating a bit. We're 10 days into the window and doesn't seem to be a single bid or even conversation beyond En-Nesyri, that loan offer, which again it makes no sense because you're buying a player based off form from 2 seasons ago, as opposed to the
Yeah.
form that they've been in for the last 2 years, which hasn't been good.
And that's what Moffi is, in form.
And exactly, Moffi is completely in form, so there's going to be interest. So we have to really, in all honesty, put up or shut up. A deal, it will be there to get him. It's just whether we have the conviction and ultimately the interest in which to dig into our pockets and round the back of the sofa to find, that extra £5 we need in which to put a bid in.
I think as well, one of the things you touched on is that he was valued at 15 million in the summer. Now that's coming off the back of a season where he was criticised quite a bit. As I said, he got 8 goals and 4 assists, which is not a bad figure, but it was certainly not the figure that Lorient wanted or expected from him. Now, you add 8 goals and 4 assists into our squad. So Antonio has thrived off those numbers for seasons. 8 goals and 4 assists is kind of about what he's been getting for us. And this season, he has just absolutely smashed that. So they are going to want an improved offer. They're going to want an improved figure. Do I think he's worth it? This is the same old problem we have with Declan Rice and when West Ham plays. That's what he's worth to Lorient, because Lorient have got a replacement. They've even got a player who's very similar to him in Coney, who we are also reportedly interested in. However, it's a case of they will adapt to the bid that comes in. Now, I think, to be honest, if you put in an £18 million bid, you get him. And I think he's worth every single penny. As I said, I think he's got so much potential and he adds so much to us in terms of pace, but also quality of finish. So, as I said earlier, if you want to get the deal done quickly, even if I don't think they'd settle for a loan to buy, but I think if you said to them, here's £10 million up front, and in the long run, if he scores 8 goals before the end of the season for us, then we'll give you the 25 million euros that you want. I think they take that.
Well, we will see. It's another link we need to keep an eye on, and it seems, as the deeper we go into the January transfer window, the rumours will keep coming, the links will keep coming. So it's one to keep an eye on. It's one we'd be happy with as a collective. I think that's fair to say. So we'll see how it develops, and make sure to keep an eye on our channel, because we'll keep producing content like this for players that we are linked with. So just exactly who they are and whether it would be a good thing if they were at West Ham or not, in our opinion, of course. But make sure to follow us on Twitter if you haven't already, at Babbling Irons. And if you like on the video, subscribe as well. Like I mentioned, we are publishing content every day, so make sure to tune in. And until next time, lads, come on, you Irons.